Hello everyone, Mike Kruger from Weather NorCal. This is another edition of Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals. We've got two special guests today, actually four special guests today. We've got Adrian and Sharon from Turtle Bay, and we've got Noodle. Precious, and we've got
Auburn.
Okay, so we have a rattlesnake and a gopher snake. Can you at home tell the difference between the two?
Very simple, you know. Do you want to have?
Why would you? Because you're holding the one.
That's it. You got it. That is correct. Yes. I am holding this.
I thought I was being smart.
So,
yes.
But yeah. So, what do you want to talk about, Mike?
Well, let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, I was talking to my son, and he almost stepped on a rattlesnake. Or at least he thought it was a rattlesnake. I told him it was a gopher because it didn't have a rattle. He says, but they don't have rattles sometimes. And I'm like, no, that can't be the case. And then I learned from you for a couple of things, that they can lose their rattles.
Not only can they do lose their rattles and grow them back.
Yeah, okay. So tell us about this rattle.
Okay,
here.
so a rattle is actually created by their sheds. So, you know, they shed constantly. When they're little, they're born with one little, what we call a bud, one little piece. And then every time they shed, this is just a piece of scale. And then they rattle together. They get to a point where they get so long and top heavy and fragile that they'll break off.
Okay.
Sometimes they break off like halfway down so they still have a good rattle. Occasionally they'll break off all the way, which you can see actually Precious is broke down all the way right now. Yeah, and that's her rattle, his rattle in your hand.
Okay, interesting.
So next time he sheds, it'll add another one and another one. So people who say you can tell their age by their rattle, not true.
One of the myths.
But they do make more, so this is after so many sheds that we see here. So it's not an actual, there's not actually like dirt or something inside the rattle. It's not like a typical rattle. It's the what would you say? The scales.
Yes, the
scales hitting each other. Yep. So it's really interesting how that works. Now he also mentioned that through evolution, that some rattlesnakes don't actually have rattles.
That's true. Now we're not seeing that so much around our area here, but it is being seen in many populations, and that's really one of the really big messages because they are instinctively have a defense of rattle. Okay, but what we do as humans is we go, oh, it rattled, it's a rattlesnake, kill it. So, but then you have a rattlesnake that's hiding that doesn't rattle and it doesn't get killed. So the genes that are getting passed on are of rattlesnakes who don't rattle. That is a problem. And so we're getting more and more rattlesnakes that don't rattle to warn you. You want them to warn you.
Yeah.
You want to be running in here. You be like, thank you.
This noise.
You want that, and then you go, thank you, I will give you your space about 6 feet, and you're completely safe. What's happening is they're not rattling, and now there's populations that are actually not even growing the rattles.
That
so
is weird.
It is really kind of scary of what we have done by our behavior in killing rattlesnakes.
Well, so then the next thing is how do you tell the difference between the two? If they don't have a rattle, now you say, okay, there's two different types of sheens that we have on there, right?
So we're going to show this. So Adrian's going to hold Precious up so he's safe from me, so I can hold him a little closer. Okay, so this is a gopher snake. You can see they are mimics. Okay, their patterns are very, very similar. All right, but if I put in the sun here, you can see the sheen. So that's why people think snakes look slimy and wet, because their scales have this sheen to them. Okay, so now Adrian, take a step back for us, Mike. Going to put him, do you see there's no sheen?
Yeah.
Or very little.
They're very dull. There's a little bit, yeah.
There's a little bit, but those guys have a much smoother scale than the rattlesnakes do. If we were to actually feel the rattlesnake skin, it feels like sandpaper.
I'm not going to try to, though.
Please don't.
Okay.
That's good. And it's called a keeled scale. So you got your keeled scale on there. These are your smooth scales. These lay down like the shingles on a roof. And so they're nice and smooth and tight and soft. And you want to hold her?
Oh, yeah.
You can hold her.
Here, I got the, I was going to put the rattle down, but then yes.
There you go. And you can hold her and you can feel how soft and smooth she
Yeah.
is. Now also, of course, look at the faces. So her face is sort of a tube. It's the same width as the body. And notice that Precious is got that triangular face.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that. If these guys get really scared, they'll puff up, they'll put air in their cheeks to make their face look more diamond shaped so that they scare away predators into thinking. The whole reason a gopher snake looks like this is a mimic. It's called mimicry. It is a camouflage method to protect them from predators, to think that there's something that's going to harm them.
Interesting. All right. Well, good. Well, I think we learned a lot here, and really it was sparked. The conversation was sparked by my son saying that some rattlesnakes don't have rattles. I thought, no, that's a gopher snake. And then I discover from you that there's so much to it. So great, interesting
stuff. What he really
stuff.
found out was that his son is smarter.
My son is smarter than me. He is.
No, but yeah, absolutely. And we just want people to know, if you see a snake and you're not sure, just give them 6 feet. That's all you need. These guys are non-aggressive species. Just give them some space, and everybody can live together.
We can.
We all can.
Including the 3 of us. Sometimes. All right, maybe not. All right, well, thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Sharon. And thank you all so much for watching. Hope you learned a little something about rattlesnakes and gopher snakes. We'll see you next week on another edition of Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals.